Can the Chicago Bulls play in the clutch be a factor to help these guys secure a playoff spot? We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to end the show with another conversation on where will the Bulls sit in the next 5 games, as they are so close to finally getting to 500 and possibly being over 500. Y'all know we're going to talk about it and break it down. But you gotta hear the music first. Cognac, gang. Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys of Cognac Boy Bobby. And of course, I am with my dog, CDubb. How you doing, boy?
I'm feeling great, man. Let's get to it, man. We got a long ass motherfucker week, bro. Damn,
You already know.
already.
If you're tuned in with us today, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well. Now, CDubb, the Chicago Bulls, just the other night, these guys came out here and they had another clutch game, and what we thought was going to be a blowout win versus the Portland Trailblazers. The Chicago Bulls found themselves in another clutch game. They won that game that pushed another W for the Chicago Bulls record for clutch games. The Chicago Bulls are now 24-15 in clutch games, CDubb, and have a 61% win rate. Initially, can the Chicago Bulls play in the clutch be a factor to help these guys secure a playoff spot? How you looking at that?
You would think that this would be something that'll help the Bulls if they get into a playoff, actually in the playoffs, and with this experience through the regular season, them having such a great record, 24-15, and nothing to sneeze at. I wish that was the regular record. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go a different route and say this might be a little troubling if you want to look at it. I will bet that more than half of these games, the Bulls was leading by a wide margin, and they let a team come back, and they was forced to play a close, clutch game. So I don't want anybody to look at this that like, oh man, the Bulls are awesome. They 24-15 doing crunch games, but the overall record is below 500 at this point in time. So don't let this record in clutch games fool you. There's sometimes the Bulls are letting teams, and sometimes way inferior teams, see the Detroit Pistons twice, come back and make it a close game. So I would like the Bulls to put these teams away when they could and not put themselves in this type of position. See, the last game against the Portland Trailblazers, ain't no way it should have been a clutch game, but it was added to the total, 24. They should have spanked them boys out the gym by the fourth quarter. We should have seen Sanagu, Batim, and that little dude we just picked up that looked like a plumber. So therefore, I'm going to go the other route and say we got some cleaning up to do.
I feel you on that. I believe the Chicago Bulls do have some cleaning up to do, but I do say that all these clutch games could potentially be a good sign as well. It is a bit troubling. It is a bit concerning. I could give you that, because sometimes the Chicago Bulls find themselves in positions that they shouldn't absolutely even be in. Let's keep it a buck. Just like the last game that the Chicago Bulls played versus the Portland Trailblazers, they was up by as many as 16. And at one point, the Portland Trailblazers took the lead again. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? It was down the stretch, but I got to give it up to the Chicago Bulls to say that, hey, they were able to overcome. And a lot of teams, at least as far as, over the years, when they get in those clutch spots, when you got to have a basket, when you got to find the right guy to knock down a shot, those teams typically lose these games. Hell, look at the Chicago Bulls. Last year, we was losing these games. You know what I'm saying? These clutch games. And I think that right here, this season, I mean, though it can be a bit troublesome, it can worry you a little bit and cause a little bit concern. You got to take it for what it is. The Bulls roster construction, they don't have a team that I believe can go out here and just blow multiple teams out every single night. Just some teams out there that like that. Maybe the Boston Celtics or the Denver Nuggets, they can give teams a lot to handle. But the Chicago Bulls, yes, they have some some really good players. And then you got some that's a bit questionable. We trying to see them take steps forward. But then you still got to think about, you know what I'm saying, what just the makeup of the team. They don't have a legit number two as far as like a guy that can put the ball in the
Ball
basket
in the
at a
basket.
consistent basis. Some will say Nikola Vucevic, but I would say at a high clip to where you know what I'm saying, that Zach Levine type of guy.
You
He's
don't think
not out there
Kobe's that
right now.
guy? You don't think
Huh?
Kobe's that guy? You don't think Kobe's that guy?
He is that guy, but that was more so in the beginning of the season. I'm looking at as what has recently be happened, what has been recently happening with the Chicago Bulls. And Kobe White has not necessarily been bad, but
Mm-mm.
he hasn't had those he hasn't had those explosive scoring outputs that we've been needing to put some of these teams away. And for the last two games, he hasn't even been present. But CDubb, I want to interest you in this to see if you change your mind a little bit, to feel like if this can kind of help the Bulls a little bit more and within the argument, because it's fair. It can go either way. The Chicago Bulls average about 12 points when the games become a quote unquote clutch game. 12 points. That leaves the league in those moments. And the Chicago Bulls defensively are fourth in defensive rating within those clutch games. They got a 55% assist percentage. And these guys, they do pretty damn well when it comes to steals and blocks in those clutch moments. Is that kind of like helping you tip the scale in the favor to say that this is going to help them? Or you still on the caution or on the side of caution with it can help, but it can be something that hurts them as well?
Excuse me while I take all that basketball to the face, right?
You got to take it for what it is. This
Yeah,
is
that
right. Those stats was
basketball.
for my advanced stack nerds out there.
Oh my goodness. I would say this: it is some good in that you actually, and you said a good word when you had your when you were saying your take on this topic. You said you used the word overcome. They overcome some of those downfalls and uh perform some of those math numbers that you just said to me just right now. Uh, my biggest question, bro, in these games, especially against these teams, they should be whooping. Are y'all underachievers or overachievers, bro?
I think that's fair.
What are y'all, bro? Because one time y'all could go in, y'all could beat the Milwaukee Bucks one game, and then you go against the Detroit Pistons, and you gotta go all the way to the wire, and you still don't win. So it's kind of hard to put my fingerprint on it. Yes, it's some good. I don't know how good that is when you up the stakes when you get into a playoff situation, when the other team is going to play as desperate as you, when the best players on the floor is mainly the guys that's being successful on the court in playoff situations. Uh, is yet to see. Well, we have seen them in a couple playoff situations. We seen them against Milwaukee. We seen them against the in the play-in tournament last year. But have you seen anybody that can put you over the hump? And all those stats don't mean nothing when it's playoff time, and
I'm with
you
you
can
on
throw
that.
that shit out the window.
I'm with you on that. And I think that's fair analysis because a lot of the times if you want to win some of these games, I agree with you. You got to put certain teams away. But then I
Yeah,
will argue that if the Bulls were better in the clutch last year, they would have made the playoffs over the Miami Heat. Would you say that? To
yeah,
close
and
out that Miami Heat play-in game, if this Bulls team who has a 61% win rate with the fourth rating and the defensive rating and all that stuff. We can go through and break it down again. But if this team this year played the Miami Heat last year, do you think the outcome is different or you kind of think it is the same and it's too hyperbolic?
it could be of what we've seen this year in the clutch situations. Well, you got to account for coaching decisions. He
For sure.
substituted the wrong players in that game. So
Fair enough.
yeah, so
Fair
that's
enough.
what I'm saying.
So C-Dub, with the success of the clutch, we talking a lot of clutch here. This ain't a car, but we talking a lot of clutch here. The Chicago Bulls will face, if the playoffs and everything started today in the play-in, the Chicago Bulls will face the Hawks in their first play-in matchup. And
Mm,
then they will either play the Pacers or the Heat
mm.
in the follow-up game if they win that 9 versus 10 seeding game, that first game. You think this right now, this Bulls team with their record and their experience, that's that hurt them more or help them more to secure a playoff spot?
Their experience this year, the way they've been playing this year, I would give the Bulls the nod against both of those prospective teams, all three of those prospective teams. I just think they're a better team than most of those teams. Now I know the media darling is going to be the Indiana Pacers because they want Tyrese Halliburton in the regular playoffs. That think that'll be exciting and probably good for the league. But when you look at it roster for roster, the Bulls got them beat. You look at the Atlanta Hawks roster from roster, Bulls got them beat. If that is crazy enough for me to say it, crazy enough for you to hear, I think they got a better roster. And with the Miami Heat, they kind of,
That's their
you
challenge.
got to respect them a little bit because what they did last year, going from the play in all the way to the title, they couldn't win it, but getting to the title in itself, that is a wonderful thing. I still think the Bulls can take them out because they almost had them last year, to tell you the truth. To tell you
Okay,
the truth.
for
So
sure. So pretty much you telling me that this experience helps them more than it hurts them, but it is a bit worrisome and a bit concerning, is what you're saying.
I'll take a cup of that. I'll take a
For
cup.
sure. That's a good cup of yak. It ain't henny. It ain't henny. That's the E&J. It's good, but it's a bit concerning.
Ain't nobody drinking no motherfucking J. You tweaking.
If you drinking E&J, that's a bit concerning. You
Yeah, bro,
feel
we
me?
worried about you if you drinking some E&J at this point, bro.
They say it's yak though, big dog.
Who says yak? That shit is disowned from
but
the family.
but hey, let us know your thoughts and everything below. But C-Dub, speaking of these clutch games and everything that's to come for the Chicago Bulls, in the next 5 games, the Chicago Bulls have a great opportunity to be at and possibly above 500. We know we cannot get ahead of ourselves, though. But if we look ahead just a little bit, there's a little bit of optimism. The Chicago
Yeah.
Bulls in their next 5 game plays the Houston Rockets, a very winnable game, but the Bulls got to handle business. The Boston Celtics, which is going to be an absolutely tough game that you hope Kobe White can return to. Then you got the lowly Wizards again, the injured Pacers, and the team that people told me was going to be better than the Bulls, the Brooklyn Nets. Where will the Bulls sit within the next 5 games? Just in an early prediction, or you don't want to get too ahead of yourself. How you looking at this?
But fuck it, we gonna pull it. The Bulls sit at 34 and 35 right now. Next game is the Houston Rockets. I expect the Bulls to be in the locker room like, okay, y'all, it's time. Let's get to that. Let's get to this goal. Let's get to 500. I expect the Bulls to win a close game, a really tough game against the Rockets, who's an up and coming team. The Celtics, eh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
That might
ain't.
be an L. The Celtics is probably one of the top two teams in the league.
Yeah,
If they beat them, it'll be a surprise.
that'll
The
be
Bulls,
very impressive.
the
Yes.
Bulls is capable of beating anybody any given day. But I'm gonna go ahead and say the Celtics take that win. Then we get to the Wizards. We ain't got to talk about that. The Wizards suck, and that should be a win. And then we get to the Pacers. You said they're injured. I love Tyrese Halliburton. He can definitely win you a game on his lonesome, along with Miles Turner. He almost won it for him last game against us. But I'm gonna
Fair
get a
enough.
Bulls the I'm gonna get a Bulls the upper hand on that one. And the Nets, this is a game I've been waiting for pretty much all season. It's been a lot of talk about Nets and the Bulls season. The Bulls out. So I got them finishing a 4-1 in this next 5 games. That would put these guys at 38 and 36.
Mm,
Can we see? Can you believe the Bulls will be 3 games over 500?
that'll be
Let's see.
wild, bro.
That's my floor, nephew. That's my floor where I want them at.
I mean, but I think it's very possible, but it's not up to us. It's always been up to the Chicago Bulls for what we've been saying these last few weeks. Hell,
Yeah.
all season, because they fought back from that 5-14 start, and we've seen them hit and get close to being at 500, and then as they get closer, one game away, they lose 3. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So we've been
Yeah.
saying this all season. It's not up to us anymore. It's up to them. But I think the absolute best outcome for them is to go 4-1. The absolute
Yeah.
worst that you should go is
3 and 2.
3-2. And it's
What you
that
talking
simple.
about?
Literally. Like, I think that you might take a
Yes.
loss versus either Houston or Indiana, but you gotta win the others. You
Yeah.
have to. You would take a loss versus Houston or Indiana and a for sure loss towards Boston. Now, if
Yes.
you beat Boston, that's just gonna be very, very impressive. But I think that the Bulls are inching closer to getting above 500, and I'm gonna tell you right now, that's gonna be music to AK and Mark Eversley ears, big dog.
Bro, it's been a couple years, hasn't it?
On
Hasn't it been?
me.
Or was it last year? They. I think they was like 5-4 or something like that.
Yeah, but
It's
that
been a
it's
long
been a
time. The calendar
minute.
didn't turn,
Oh,
bro.
what? With this team, all these young players, if they can get above 500,
Yeah.
AK and Mark Eversley gonna be chilling and cheering.
Yeah. So I think the Bulls just got to keep playing. Try to get to one of those 7th and 8th seeds, so
Yeah,
that you can have at least 2 tries at it, 2 whacks at it,
yeah, they right
and
there.
yeah. So just keep hooping. Just keep hooping, bro.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
keep
with you on that. The Bulls got to keep doing what they do. And that's just what it really come down to. Like you mentioned, 34-35 record. Bro, literally 2.5 games out from the 8th seed. And the way the Miami Heat been playing lately,
Yeah.
you got a shot. But you got to
Yeah.
take care of business. You have to take care of business. That's just what it come down to. The Miami Heat in their last 10 games
See
CDubb,
the
my fault. My I
my
can't talk,
ball.
bro. My fault. My fault. The Heat in their last 10 games are 4-6. And the Miami Heat upcoming schedule, if the Bulls want to catch them, because if they get to the 8th seed and they win one play-in game, they will be the 7th seed. But again, we cannot get ahead of ourselves. But the
Oh,
next 5 games for the Miami Heat, it's Cleveland, New Orleans, Cleveland, Golden State, and Portland.
oh my goodness.
It's not
Yes.
extremely tough, but it
It's
is a
tough.
bit tough.
Yes, yes. All of those teams are fighting for position in the playoffs, so they gonna come in with their
Exactly.
best for efforts too.
Yeah. And
Wow.
it's yeah. So I mean, we gotta see what it do, man. That's what
See,
it
well,
the Bulls just gotta rise to the occasion. That's what it come down to.
here go the goal. Let's just break the fucking. You want to get to the 7th seed.
Facts.
You want to try everything you can to play the
Facts.
Milwaukee Bucks, bro. If you play the Celtics, you might get swept. If you get to the Milwaukee Bucks, no,
You might get 2 games.
you might get a deuce.
You might get
You
2.
might put a scare on them. You might put a little scare in them. I'm definitely gonna take Milwaukee to win. I'm
Of
definitely gonna
course.
cheer the Bulls on, and I'm gonna ride with them
Of
all the
course.
way through the end. But I'm gonna pick Milwaukee, and if we can go, make somebody scared up there in Milwaukee.
You
Make them scared.
know, I don't know. Maybe we being homers, but hey, if y'all can catch
I'm
the
being a
drift and
homer for
feel it,
sure.
you should be able to catch the drift and feel it. At least we being at least honest, you know.
Yeah, bro.
But hey, CDubb, that's it from us, man. You got anything left?
Yeah, let's go, Bulls. This crunch time. Let's see what you guys are made of, bro. Let's see. We probably know what you already made of, mid Reggie. But let's see what y'all really made of in this crunch time of the NBA season.
For sure. Absolutely. And that's it from us today, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you tune in, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for all your latest Bulls content and updates. If you want to call in and be a part of an episode, go ahead and call our voicemail line and leave a voicemail so you can be played on one of our episodes. The number is 773-242-9219. This is another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. I'm Bobby, that's CDubb. We're going to catch y'all on the next one. For sure. Cognac. Gang.